Okay, so I can see the biggest fault that most people have is the eye. So you got to make sure that you get the nose before you carve the eye. So the side of the nose has to be carved before you can set the eye. So that when you set the eye, hopefully they both look about the same. And if you look straight up, then they're pretty close together. Remember that if one eye is a little bit different than the other, don't get too concerned. In this type of a carving, you can only see one eye at a time, so it doesn't really matter too much. Make sure that you get the hollow out before you get to the ear or the hair or the hat or whatever is on his head. It has to give the illusion that it's curving in underneath. Our foreheads go up underneath. And likewise, behind the ear, remove a little bit of wood so that eventually we can carve the ear. So that's what I think we'll do next, is do the ear. We'll get the ear set up. Some people have trouble with the ears. Some of your carvings do not have ears, but for those who don't have ears, I guess this is just going to be a bit of a learning experience. So in order to create the ear, we have a lobe on the bottom here, and that stays the same. Nothing happens below the ear. That whole section stays the same. But we have to hollow out a little bit underneath here, and we have to give them a little bit of a hollow in here to create that flap that's in front of the ear. So whatever size gouge would work in there, that's the one you would work, whatever one's in your kit. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. So where the side of the ear comes down, I'm going to continue that by putting a sharp gouge in there. I'm just going to push that in like that, and that you can see right away creates the ear, or that flap for the ear. So then just remove a little bit of the wood from the outside of that, and there it is. Not too easy to see on that screen there. Then I'm going to take a gouge, and it can be I use a high-sided gouge most of the time. This happens to be a number 11 5mm, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to remove on the inside of that line. Get rid of some of those pencil marks so it's not too confusing. So can you see that? So it's not a whole bunch of detail, but some detail. A little bit of cleanup maybe. If you have to come back in and replace or add to that stop cut, just go ahead and put it in. But the trick here is to make sure you got the outside of the ear established, and I could get rid of my pencil mark in there I guess now too. So it looks something like that. No big deal. So we've got the ear set. So now we should start to round the back of his head. We did all the front parts. So let's round the back of the head and the hair and try and give it some sort of definition. in this particular guy, he's got a brush cut, so I'm going to have to leave him with his hair all standing on end, but it still has to be rounded around the corner here. Alright, so we'll round it here and round it here. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so can you see how I've rounded the edges here? And I've left it flat across the top because this guy's got a brush cut, rounded the front here. Well, how I did that was with a big gouge that I turned upside down and used the curved side so it would come up. Okay, and that gave me that shape. So now I got to taper it a little bit so that it comes into the forehead here. But that's the only, I have to just shape it in so that it comes into the forehead. So I've removed a little bit of material up so that it gives that slight curve going into the hairline, and the forehead tapers back. Just another little bit of detail. So we've got this all rounded so the hair looks like it's joining into the forehead. We've identified the ear. So come down and make sure that the jaw gets the sharp edge taken off of it. So spend a bit of time and just put a gouge down there. So you can see on this side it's still sharp. So if you just take a gouge and very gently just take off just a little bit of the edge, round it over just a little bit, that'll give the jaw a chance to turn in. There's no sharp edges on a face. Okay?